All right, we're live at Scouting Combine. Guess who I got with me? Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator and suddenly play caller Brad Idzik. Brad, how you doing?
Good, man. How you been?
Been doing well. Obviously, a lot of news today with Dave talking about you taking over play calling duties. Kind of walk me through what that's been like over the last couple weeks of just talking about what that's going to look like for you.
Yeah, for me, I think the first thing starts with our staff as a whole. We have a great system in place of just getting input and sifting through information and making sure that communication channels are nice and clean. But for me, obviously, I'm going to need reps, and I'm looking forward to taking some reps of doing live play calling. I did it in the spring last year and then over some preseason games, but continuing to get some of those game-like scenarios for me and Bryce to make sure that we're on the same page and just really looking forward to.
You had the benefit of being in Seattle with Dave on his coaching journey. As he comes up, he goes to Tampa Bay and calls plays for the first time, and you're there watching that. What do you kind of pick up about the process from watching him make the same evolution that you're making right now?
Yeah, you always got to be a play ahead, and that's something that he's challenged me with really. When I went with him to Tampa, I was excited to get my own room and coach the receivers. Mm-hmm. Well, he said, I'm going to need a little more out of you. I need you to be there with me. I need a sounding board. I need you to think a play ahead with me. So he's, you're not alone in the process. And for me, that challenge has continued, as you go into a coordinator role here in Carolina the last 2 years of just being that for him and having a couple plays available based on what could happen. And, say you call a play on first and 10, and are you going to end up in 2nd and 9? Are you going to end up in 2nd and 2? Or is it another 1st and 10? Like, you got to have your thumb on a couple plays that make sense for those next scenarios. Mm-hmm. So he's charged me with that. He's kind of trained me for this role. And I've really enjoyed being that for him, and I see him being right on my side in the same regard as we go forward.
Mm-hmm. I know it's got to be cool for you walking through this process today. Dad's here, isn't he?
Yeah,
John
is. He's always here.
He's always here. That's true. Former Jets general manager John Idzik, of course, is your father. Your grandfather was also in the football business, coach for a long time. That's got to make today. I mean, now that you're getting this attention, it's got to be cool having him alongside while this is happening.
It is. The best thing about him is he's never force-fed football on me, and he's always wanted to try to make sure that I'm not looking in the rearview mirror and that the first person he sees, that I'm right. Carving my own path, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think that's a lot of times understated from football families. Mm-hmm. He's kept his distance to let me figure some things out on my own, but he's also talking about being a sounding board. He's been a sounding board for me along the way. A wealth of knowledge that's well respected in this league for good reason. And I lean on him heavily, not just in the football world, but as a lot of people do with their dads, lean on him for advice in my personal life as well. And just to have him available and have someone who's empathetic to the things that I'm going through, as the rigors of the season and the off season, what those schedules look like. It's just nice having a family member who gets that.
Right, and I ran into him this morning and talked to him briefly walking the halls here, and he's very proud of you, but he said the reason he is, and he's grateful that you're getting this opportunity, is the thing I know about Brad is faced with any situation, he knuckles down and does the work. People keep talking about you as this grinder, Dave called you the hardest working man in the building. What does that mean, and what does that look like as you take this next step in your career?
I think there's It's funny, you get around some coaches that have been around a long time, and there's this old, like, punch in, punch out mentality. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between hard work and smart work, and I think the more you're given responsibility-wise, and I've learned this from Dave as well, as I watch him get into the largest role of a head coach, you have to be smarter about your work, and you have to allocate your time with intelligence and planning, and then you also have to learn how to trust the guys around you. So building relationships with them on the front end is the most important part. So you do have a natural trust to delegate. Mm-hmm. So that has been a big piece since coming here and becoming a coordinator, but even more so when you're calling the plays and you're focused on play sequencing and doing the right thing for the offense. Right. You got to trust your guys to give you the right information to be informed as you go along the way.
No question. And again, we're here in Indianapolis at the Scouting Combine. People will be running 40s later in the week and all that cool stuff. You're spending most of your time here in a dark room with Dave Canales, Darrell Bevell, Harold Goodwin, and the boys talking about what this offense is going to look like. What's that been like the last little bit as you guys get into this process?
One, it's been awesome having Darrell around. It's been awesome. I felt like I knew him because I just missed him. And some of the guys on staff from the Seattle days, like they reminisce about him and working under him. So it's fun to put a face with all those stories. And anybody who Dave trusts, that's a high bar because he's got a high sense of character, and Darrell's one of those guys that he's always believed in, he's always trusted, and he's always told me a lot about. And for Darrell to come in and to get to know him the last couple of days has been awesome. And then the football, like the guy's done everything. He's been around the block. He's been around a bunch of different types of systems, whether they're his or somebody else's. That's stuff that I'm going to lean into, and that's stuff that I expect our staff to lean into as well. I told Darrell, it's like there is no holding back from helping guys, in their realms and the pieces of the pie that are given out to them in the game plan process. I want them to lean into Darrell. And then for me, just the big picture process, like just help me along the way. How can we refine what we're doing in a game week? How can we refine doing the right thing for our quarterback, for our offense as a whole, and then and me personally, how can I refine my teaching and doing the right thing for the staff and putting the right guys in front of the room at the right time. He's been great that way, and I continue to I look forward to continuing to develop that relationship and lean on his knowledge and expertise.
Right. I know you got a lot of film to watch for the rest of the week and a lot of building this thing to do, but I did want to ask you about a couple of first. Do you remember where you were, what you were in the middle of when you had that first conversation with Dave about this process?
Yeah, I was sitting in my office. I was probably pouring through some self-scout, and he came in, and it had been something that I wouldn't say it was a complete surprise because I know Dave has always been training people for their next step. So he's always talked to me this way. He's always presented, like I said, he challenged me early, even in Tampa, to view the game plan. I need you to view it like I do, so you're alongside of me. And then when he felt like the time was right, he came in, and I was doing some self-scout, watching some cut-ups, probably some free agents as well. And then he came in and said, "Hey, we're going to do this." And I was like, "Okay, let's go. As long as you feel like that's the best thing for the Panthers, let's roll." And inside, I'm doing backflips.
Right.
I'm excited because personally, selfishly, like this is a step that I've always wanted to take and to make it your own on game day. But at the same time, like we've built this thing over 3 years and try to sift out some troubleshoot and make this this offense just a right collection of teaching tools and things for our players to be successful. And I'm just proud of the work we've done. So whatever's best for the Panthers to continue to grow this thing, I was ready to do.
Right. You've done this before in preseasons, and I remember a couple years ago going into the 24 season, you're doing it in the preseason, and you kind of joked about, I'm trying to figure out the buttons and make sure I'm pushing the right buttons. How valuable was having those reps to be able to kind of ease into this process, so to speak, and get to this point?
Yeah, Dave let me do it. He let Pete Hansen do it. He let Jonathan Cooley do it. That's just who he is, and that's invaluable. It's invaluable. Some of the reps he gives Will Harriger, when we split field and you have a young guy field, and he'll let him call the other field to just let those guys, not only for their own personal development, it creates a little empathy. All right, it creates a little empathy from these other coaches that are coaching their position, and now they get to watch, oh, this is what it feels like. This is what he's dealing with. This is the 30,000 feet view of what's going on versus just my guy. And I'm forever grateful for that because that makes a change or a decision like this not feel so heavy because I have gone through those reps and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Once you got the news, once you and Dave had that conversation, who was the first call after that?
Be my wife.
That's right.
That would be my wife.
So you call home, you call the wife.
Whether it was or it wasn't, my wife was.
The correct answer is always the wife.
You are correct.
I can promise you this from experience. The correct answer is your wife. Well, when you told her, did she tell the dogs?
She did tell the dogs because they're tight-lipped, so I knew they weren't going to let it out.
The dogs are trustworthy. You've got 2 dogs at home. Tell me their names.
Indy and Paisley.
Indy and Paisley, and they are.
We got Indy is he's actually born in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Right? cool for him. He didn't come with me on this trip.
Is Indy the
Indy's the golden retriever.
Indy's golden retriever.
My wife brought that one in, and then I brought in the English bulldog Paisley, Brad Paisley.
So golden retriever, English bulldog. It's almost like coaching different positions.
Yeah, it's
you've
like
got
an
an
O-line and then the diva.
There
right?
you go.
Yeah, I won't say what position is the diva, but everybody's got a diva.
That's right, and you know how to deal with it. You know how to deal with this whole offense. Brad Idzik, congratulations, man. Thanks for coming by.
Dan.